guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jennifer V. Today I'll be doing my book haul video for the month of November. So let's just get right into it. So I do have a good amount of books to discuss today. Not as crazy as the past few months where I had to break the video into two parts because it was just ridiculous, but I still have a good 20 to 25 books that I managed to grab this month, either from publishers, authors, purchases that I made myself, etc. So the first book that I got was actually from a publicity agency, and I received the book When the Lights Go Out by Mary Kubica. So I actually don't know too much in terms of what this book is about, other than the fact that it's a thriller. I also have never heard of the author herself nor any of her previous books, so this will actually be a very new read for me because one, I don't know anything about the book. Second of all, this will be a new author in general. So after a quick glance of the front flap, it seems to be mostly about a woman who questions her own identity in this gripping thriller. So other than that, we'll see how this goes. The next few books that I got are actually books that I purchased from Book Outlet. The first two are actually books 2 and books 3 of a series, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. This is books 2 and books 3 of A Court of Thorn and Roses series. I just really wanted to pick up all 3 books, so when I do finally get a chance to pick these up, I would be able to binge read this entire series. And honestly, the only thing I know about these books is that it's a fantasy and it deals with fairies, and I believe I heard somewhere that the Kingdom of Ash, it kind of mentions this series a little bit. There's like a one-liner or something that someone mentioned, or I've heard some people mention. I don't know if it's true, so we'll see. So anyways, I'm just really excited for these books. I absolutely love her Throne of Glass series, so I'm just really excited to jump into another fantasy novel, fantasy series by Sarah J Maas. So the next book that I purchased is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. This is book 1 in the Firebird trilogy. I mostly picked up this one because I have not read any of Claudia Gray's books in a very long time, and I really enjoyed her books in the past, and somehow this trilogy just bypassed me, so I decided to pick it up, and book 1 was on sale, so I figured why not. So this book is all about traveling through alternate dimensions. It follows a girl called Margaret who grew up with her brilliant physicist parents, and they developed this technology called Firebird that basically allows people to jump through alternate dimension. And then one day her father is murdered, and all the evidence seems to point to his star student, and he basically escapes to another dimension, which seems like the perfect crime, except that Margaret decides to follow him. And so now she goes on to these other dimensions and encounters other versions of the star student. His name is Paul, and she gets swept into this intense love affair. So I'm really excited for this book. This book sounds amazing, and if her books are any indication for me in the past, I will really enjoy this one. The next book that I purchased from Book Outlet is book 2 of a series that I don't have book 1 of, I don't have book 3 of, I haven't even picked up the series yet, but book 2 was on sale, and this is a series that I've been dying to read for a very long time now, and I know that, knowing me, I probably won't get into it until the paperback of the 3rd book comes out, which will be next year, I believe. Think next year. And so because of that, I figured I might as well just start purchasing the paperback versions of the books when they become available on, Book Outlet, and book 2 is available, so I figured I'll just pick it up and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully book 1 becomes available soon so I can pick that one up too. But anyways, this book is Waking Gods by Sylvain Neuvel. Hoping I pronounced his name correctly. So to be completely honest, I don't know too much of what the series is about. This is book 2 of the Themis Files series, and I just know that it is sci-fi and has something to do with space and robots, I believe. Other than that, I really don't know, but I have heard amazing things about these books that I was like, sci-fi, yes, I'm gonna read them. So I'm just gonna be really excited to read this book once I get book 1. So next few books that I got are actually from a trilogy. So for those who don't follow me, or for those who do follow me on Twitter, you will know that I absolutely fell in love with this one series by this author that I really didn't like her previous books. You guys probably know what I'm talking about already. And I absolutely fell in love with it. So because of that, I want to give her previous trilogy, the one that I didn't finish, another go. And this time I'm going to try to read them as a physical copy, and we'll see how that is. But anyways, this series, or this trilogy, is Daughter of Smoke and Bones by Laini Taylor. So these books were on sale. I got them from a combination of Book Outlet and Amazon during the holidays. And honestly, from what I can remember from you know, like the 100 pages or so that I read for the first book from an audiobook was that there are chimeras involved, and it's about this girl, and there are gods and goddesses and this epic battle, and I don't know, but I am going to give Laini Taylor a second chance for these books and see if I can fall in love with them as much as I did for the Stranger Dreamer series. So really excited for these three. Then the next book that I got from the book outlet is The Reader by Tracy Chee. This is a book about books, and this is also book one of the Sea of Ink and Go trilogy. So this book follows a girl called Sophia who lives her life on the run after her father was murdered. She basically escaped with her aunt Nin, but then one day Nin was kidnapped and now she's left to fend for herself. She also has absolutely no idea in terms of who took Nin as well as why or where she took Nin, and the only clue that she has is this rectangular object that she knows that is a book. So I guess in the world that Tracy created, books are basically unheard of, reading is unheard of, and I guess somehow Sophia manages to slowly learn how to read and basically manages to learn the book's secrets. So I'm honestly just really excited for this book. I love books about books, and I'm just very intrigued by the prospect of how this story will play out. Then the next book that I got from the book outlet is one that I was very excited for, but then I've also heard like kind of mixed reviews about it. But I still decided to pick it up anyways because it just sounds like a very adorable, fluffy novel. And this book is called Love and Luck by Jenna Evans Welch. This is a contemporary novel that is set in Ireland, which is one of my bucket list destinations, and I am just really excited to read books about Ireland, or set in Ireland really. So as I stated, this is a contemporary novel. It follows a girl called Addie who is visiting Ireland because of her aunt's destination wedding. Something happens and now she finds herself on this whirlwind tour of the Emerald Isle, and in this tour she is basically trapped with her brother and his admittedly very cute friend with a cute Irish accent, Rowan. So I'm just really excited for all the mushy feeling that I'm going to get from this book. At least I'm hoping to get from this book, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. Then the next book that I got is one that I'm absolutely fascinated because I love all things to deal with ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Rome. Like that area in the ancient times is a period that I am very, very fascinated with. And so when I saw this book on book outlet, I was like, yes, I want to pick this book up. And this book is called Cleopatra's Daughter by Michelle Morin. So this book obviously follows the story of Cleopatra's daughter, but technically I think it just talks about Cleopatra's children in general and what happened to them after Cleopatra as well as Mark Antony committed suicide. I actually read a book recently that really discusses about Selene, which is Cleopatra's daughter, and her story, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm really curious and really fascinated to see how this book will portray Selene and her brother Alexander as well. So the next book that I picked up from book outlet is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. I am so psyched for this book because I love Sherlock Holmes. This book just basically follows Sherlock Holmes, who is essentially the great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes or something like that. Lots of greats involved there, and she basically inherits his genius as well as his temperament. And where there's a Holmes, there is a Watson, and this Watson is called Jamie Watson, who goes to Sherringford, which is this Connecticut prep school, where also obviously Charlotte goes to as well. So this book is just basically a Sherlock Holmes book, but Charlotte Holmes. So I'm very excited about it, and we'll see how this goes. So the next book that I picked up is Flamecaster by Cinda Williams Chima. This is the first book in the Shattered Realms series. So honestly, I don't know too much about this book other than the fact that it is a fantasy, and it deals with a wizard prince and a ruthless king. It also has revenge and a girl with a curse. But anyways, I'm just really excited for this book because I've actually heard really, really good things about this series as well as the author's other fantasy series. They're all well beloved, and I feel like I should get into this series by this author and just see for myself what the hype is about. So the next book that I picked up is one that I'm not entirely sure what it's about other than the fact that it is a science fantasy novel, and I like science fiction, I like fantasy, so the fact that this genre seems to be a combination of the two just seems very appealing to me. Not to mention, this book has been exploding on BookTube recently that I was like, you know what, I should probably check it out. And this book is called The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. And this is supposed to be just about how the world ends for the last time. And this just sounds very intense to me, very riveting. Not to mention, this book won so many awards. It says there's like a Hugo's, like 3 consecutive Hugo Awards for Best Novel, and it also won New York Times Notable Book of 2015. So I mean, this book is supposed to be amazing, so I'm really excited to pick this one up soon. So the next book that I got is one that I won from a giveaway, and this book is called Outrun the Wind by Elizabeth Tammy. And from what I can tell, this is basically a Greek mythology retelling of Artemis and Atalanta, which I have never heard of any retellings of Atalanta before, so really excited for this one. The next book that I got is from my final month of this subscription that I subscribed to, this book box subscription. I stopped subscribing to it because honestly, book subscription boxes are actually so expensive because you're paying a lot of money for shipping. I mean, I hate paying money for shipping. So if there's like free shipping, I am all up for that. The idea of paying like it's usually like $6 to $8 for shipping and accumulate that by months and months, because usually it's a better deal if you buy like 3 months or 6 months or even a year like prepay. That adds up to so much money that I could actually be spending on more books. So I kind of stopped doing that because of that fact mostly. So this is the last book that I'm getting from this particular subscription. The subscription is called Unplugged Book Box. They do have really nice things in their box. It's just with shipping, I think it was like $8 extra or something. And I was like, I can buy like 2 books from Book Outlet with that price, because Book Outlet prices are like $4 to $6 each. And $8 shipping, 2 books, guys. So the book that came in the November box is Come November by Katrin Van Dam. Hope I pronounced that name correctly. So I actually don't know anything about this book. I don't think I've even heard of this book until I received this in the mail. But from a quick glance at the front flap, it seems to follow a girl called Rooney Harris who believes that it is the end of the world, or at least is starting to feel that way. Her mother just lost her job, and apparently now she's spending every waking moment with a group called Next World Society, whose members are convinced that they'll be leaving Earth on November 17th. And her mother is desperately trying to get Rooney and her little brother to join her on this, I guess, leaving Earth mission thing going on, whereas Rooney is trying to hold her family together. And I don't know, this book just sounds kind of interesting. We'll see how this goes. I really don't know what to expect because I've never heard of the author, I've never heard of the book, and we'll just see. So the next 3 books that I got was actually from a publicity agency. They sent me this book for an unboxing. So I actually did an Instagram unboxing video a while ago when I first received this. But this series, or this saga, is called the Ascender Saga by C.L. Gaber. So this series basically follows a girl called Walker who died at the age of 17, and now she is stuck in this like time limbo, I guess, with other teenagers who have also died too young. And I guess now she's just stuck in this middle realm called the Academy, where it looks a lot like any quaint town where there's a school, there's a principal called Principal King, there are cliques, there are jocks, there are cheerleaders, etc. And she's just stuck in that realm now. And of course, as most typical books, she ends up falling in love, which apparently is the most dangerous thing you can do in this realm. And she ends up being a rule breaker because she was one in life as well. So there's supposed to be this epic adventure going on, and I don't know, we'll see how this goes. So the next book that I received was actually sent to me by the publicity agency for review. This book is called How to Experience Death for Beginners by Jessica Branson. This is an ARC copy. It comes out on February 14th, 2019, and this is a thriller novel. So this book follows a girl called Casey who can essentially enter the minds of people when they die. And then one day, a serial killer invades her small town, the FBI becomes involved, and this one FBI agent actually believes in her psychic powers. So this book just basically talks about how she takes down a psychopath and possibly fall in love, because this is a young adult and there's always a love romance thing going on. So I am actually really excited about this book. This book sounds really fascinating, so we'll see how this goes. The next book that I got in the mail is Tell Me Your Mind by Elizabeth Norback. This is actually a Swedish novel that was translated to English. It is a thriller as well. So I believe that this book is actually told in the perspective of 3 separate women. One of them is a woman who is sure that she's found her long lost daughter. The other one is terrified that she's going to lose the child that she loves. And the third one is, I'm assuming, the daughter herself, where she tries to figure out who she really is. So I'm pretty excited for it. This book sounds really interesting, and I actually really like translated books because usually when they're translated, it means they're actually really, really good. Otherwise it wouldn't be translated. So I actually have really high hopes for this one. The next book that I got is one that I won from a Goodreads giveaway. This is the 3rd time I think, that I won a Goodreads giveaway in this past like few months, which I think is so rare. But anyways, the book that I won is Even If I Fall by Abigail Johnson. This is a contemporary novel. It follows a girl called Brooke Covington who lost everything when her older brother, confessed to the murder of his best friend Calvin. And now her family is essentially broken. And then one day, Brooke sees Calvin's younger brother Heath on the side of the road and offers him a ride, and that's when everything changes. She needs someone to talk to, and Heath does as well. And I guess this book just talks about their friendship and ultimately romantic relationship, because it's a YA novel, there's gonna be a romance in there, and I can already see it. But anyways, this book just really talks about how she will heal from what has happened, as well as Heath, and she just can't heal without the help of him. And I don't know, this book just sounds like a very emotional novel, and I'm really excited for it. Then the next book that I got in the mail is The War Outside by Monica Hesse. So this book just sounds really interesting to me. This is set during World War II. It follows two girls, Margot and Haruko, and they're basically uprooted to Texas because of where their parents are initially from. One is from Germany and the other one's from Japan. And this book just revolves around the two girls in this world that's basically everything around them is falling apart, and the only thing keeping them together is their growing friendship. And the biggest question they can ask each other is, can they trust each other? So I don't know, this book just sounds a really intense novel, and I have really high hopes for this one. And the next book that I got in the mail is actually for a Bookstagram tour that I'm a part of, and this book is called The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Han. This is supposed to be a retelling or an inspired novel by The Christmas Carol. This book follows a girl called Holly who 5 years ago was visited by the same three ghosts who visited Scrooge in A Christmas Carol, and she was supposed to mend her ways. She did not, and then she died. So this book is the afterlife of her, where she's now stuck working for this top secret company called Project Scrooge, and she's supposed to be the latest ghost of Christmas past. So this book just sounds really, really fun, and honestly I just think this would be a fantastic Christmas read. Probably try to pick it up around Christmas if possible. Then the next book that I got in the mail is Only the Ocean by Natasha Carthew. Hoping I pronounced that last name correctly. I actually have no idea what this book is about. I also don't know where this book came from, but it seems to follow a girl called Kel Crow who essentially kidnaps this girl to basically pay for this life-saving operation because she has a damaged heart. And now they're stuck on the ocean because I guess she was supposed to stow away on the ship and kidnap this girl and then swap the girl to pay for passage to America and therefore have this life-saving operation. So I don't know, I mean, this book sounds like it would be an interesting read. There's a quote in the back here that says, "The two girls sat on opposite ends of the boat, and Kel dug and stretched the oar into the ocean like her life depended on it, because it did. Just so you know," said Rose, I'm assuming that's the girl that was kidnapped, "everything, and I mean everything, is your fault." So this seems like it'll be a really fun, entertaining read, and we'll see. Then the last and final book that I got in this month is Match Me If You Can by Tiana Smith. I got this from the publisher for review, so thank you so much for sending this to me. So this will be another warm and fuzzy contemporary novel that I'm really excited for. It follows a girl called Mia, whose best friend Robin is known for her matchmaking skills, except that Robin does not want to matchmake the guy of her dreams for Mia, so Mia decides to take things up in her own hands. She therefore uses her best friend's matchmaking service to ensure that popular Vince Demetrius falls for her. Of course, he ends up falling for her, but she does not expect this other guy, Logan, to fall for her as well. And now she has to decide between the two guys, as well as making sure that her best friend does not find out that she has been using her matchmaking service behind her back. So I don't know, this book just sounds like a fascinating read, and I'm really excited for this. Also an arc, this one comes out sometime in January 2019. So anyways, these are all the books that I received this past month. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of the books that I received. Let me know if you liked them or didn't like them. Let me know all in the comments down below. But as always, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!